All right. So, would you care to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a first year arts and science student at Marinopolis, obviously, and I'm running as coordinator of social justice this year. A little bit about me, maybe you know me from the past initiatives I've been involved in, like I was part of the social justice committee, and I still am this year. I'm also part of charities and volunteering and sustainability committees, where we've done some projects like the CARE fundraiser recently, or the drafting the new green plan. I'm also involved in some clubs like the Female Force, where I'm an exec with my friends, and a few other events like food drive and golf teams. And overall, I really like the student body and everything that we're doing.
Perfect. So, the first question is, what is motivating you to run?
So I think it could come down to one basic thing. So the reason why I'm running as coordinator of social justice is obviously social justice has been something that I've cared about for a very long time. And I think a lot of us go through this, when we're growing up and you start to like know more and more about the world and like the society we live in, like all the institutions that are put in place that like marginalize different groups of people, and how like so many inequalities are going on at home and across the world. And I kind of went through that process of learning more and more about our world, and I developed a strong interest of what can I do to make a difference. Like all of these things are like it made me so mad and so emotional, but the main thing I wanted to do was what can I do to make a change? What can I do to improve lives of people? So when I got to Marinopolis and got to this amazing student body where everyone is so like as driven and as caring about these topics as I was just, beyond excited to have the opportunity to bring my vision to Marinopolis and try to make like concrete changes to make the college, greener, more inclusive, and more aware about different social topics.
All right. Um, Now, would you care to perhaps explain what your initiatives are?
Yeah, of course. So I kind of, although, social justice issues, they intersect all of them like on top of each other, and I definitely see that. I divided my campaign into like four main topics. So the first one is about the environment. So obviously, the environment is such a big topic that affects, I think, so many of us, especially our generation. We care so much about like how we can prevent climate change from getting worse and worse every year. So as coordinator of social justice, I plan first of all on implementing the new Green Deal, a new green plan that we drafted at the sustainability committee that I mentioned earlier. This plan has so many new initiatives that come with it, like the fair trade certification of the college, which I think is such a great initiative because it can actually make institutional change at the college to put in place more awareness about fair trade, selling more fair trade products, so supporting these businesses and creating a fair trade committee. There's also the creation of a thrift store, a student-led thrift store that would be a constant project on campus, which I would love, love, love to implement. And so many other things like a community garden, small things like the switch to recycled paper and biodegradable ink in the library is, I feel like it's such small things that we don't necessarily think about as much, but can make such a big impact as like a whole college together. And a lot of different initiatives that you can read more about on my website if you'd like. The second thing I want to do about the environment is create a Merry Environmental Month in the month of April, where I would work in collaboration with different clubs to organize a series of fun activities and events that raise awareness about the environment, like street cleanups and things like that. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Or that would raise awareness, yeah, about these different topics, but also at the same time support local businesses and POC businesses through challenges that would like support them. And so that's about the environment. When it comes to representation and equality, I have a lot of different ideas for that as well. And some of my favorite include the creation of a podcast, a series of social justice podcasts at the college in collaboration with Cultural Affairs and the Addendum Club. We already started working on a few actually at the moment about anti-Asian hate and what it means to be Asian in Canada. Inviting guest speakers to talk about that, but also creating roundtable discussions with students. So having their perspective, different topics, different point of views, and different experiences be shared on a platform. And on top of that, in terms of equality, I want to strive for free menstrual products on campus, which I think should be available to anyone who needs them in every single female bathroom and individual bathroom. Other things like anti-racism campaigns, student surveys, teacher sensitization. And in terms of mental health, I have three main projects, which are to bring the therapy dogs back on campus once it's safe to do so. I think everyone loved therapy dogs, so it would be a great initiative. But also, I want to have anxiety, psychological first aid training be available to all students. Right now, at the moment, actually, only Congress members and the first aid team and also mentors have access to this training, this anxiety training that teaches you how to deal with panic attacks and also how to deal with your friends that are going through different difficult periods of their lives. So I want to make that training that's hosted by Amanda Gee, one of our counselors, available to all students. And I actually just had a meeting with her this morning about it, and she said that it was like a plausible idea that she really think it would benefit the student body as a whole. And finally, for mental health, I also want to install something called safe spaces. So I think during the pandemic right now, I can't be the only one who's been going through this, where it's so difficult to connect with people and to make friends, but also to have like a sort of support system that we would usually have in person, where you can vent about your day. You'll be like, oh my god, I had 4 assignments last week and I'm so overwhelmed, and have a place to release and bond over these common like stresses or things like that. So what I want to create is safe spaces. It would be weekly get-togethers during AP where students can come and go. It's low commitment, but if you want, you can show up and just talk about your feelings with different students around you, and it would be like this safe small groups where you can share your sentiments and connect and bond with other students over that. And in each of these little small groups, there would be a committee member, a social justice committee member, to kind of drive the conversation, but also to regulate and make sure that no like harmful things are being said in between students, if ever that's the case, and to report, which I think is really important, report if any topics like self-harm or harm to others are brought up during the conversation. They know to reference which students to different counseling services or the appropriate services, so they get like the concrete help they need, because of course as students we can be there to help each other through difficult times, and it's such like a powerful thing to have this support system, but also it can't replace therapy for people who need it. So that's like a big encompassment of my ideas. Yeah, I'm excited to see all we can do together.
All right, that's quite a bit, and I wish you the best on those initiatives. The next question is, what sets you apart from the other candidates?
I like that question. I think two main things probably set me apart from the other candidates. First of all, I'd say experience plays a big role in these types of leadership roles, because I've been through this past year in different Congress committees, but especially the social justice one, where I was an active member and created many different campaigns like the VCS, the sexual violence campaign that we worked on, and different projects like the wellness boxes, etc. And I think there's definitely a learning curve when you first start in these types of committees, to learn how to lead a project and how to work in a team and distribute tasks and all the functioning of that, but also knowing connections, people like student resources or like physical resources, different certificate leaders or things like that. It's just really useful to have that experience and that baggage with you. It makes starting initiatives so much easier and smoother, and saves a lot of time that way you can get more done. And I think a second part of it is definitely just the passion behind it. I think like I'm definitely someone who likes to get things done and who likes to work not only for the project but also like the whole idea behind it and spread awareness at the same time, as creating activities. So I think that's important. And finally, working in collaboration with student clubs is a big focus of my campaign. I think that it's so important, to get everyone involved in the conversation and kind of bridge that divide that sometimes occurs between, like Congress and the student clubs, and have everyone work together on different initiatives because we have so many values in common that, together we could just make so much more of a bigger difference and a bigger impact.
I wanted to go back to, with regards to your previous answer, you mentioned a lot of things ranging from environmental initiatives to initiatives revolving racial justice, and other matters. And I wanted to ask you, because you brought up things like biodegradable ink in the libraries and a couple other initiatives that seem to suggest that perhaps some of them might be more costly than others. I want to ask, what would be your main focus out of all these topics? If there's perhaps one you believe that might be more of a focus for you than others?
That's an interesting question.
More be prioritized above another?
Okay, cause yeah, the way I approach social justice is that I believe that intersectionality is really important when it comes to these issues. Because if when you're addressing like one issue, for example, there's so many things that are connected to it. So if you're addressing like environmental rights, for instance, or the environment, we know that like certain communities are disproportionately affected by the environmental effects. And if you're talking about, racism or like discrimination in that sense, we know that gender inequality also is connected to that. So I think my main focus is definitely to work in collaboration with all of these different issues and find ways to solve more than one at the same time, or to like address more than one at the same time, because they are all interconnected at the end of the day. And it's important to see it that way and not to divide it into like environment or mental health or race, because it has so many effects on each other, and it's really important to see that part of it too. But definitely like my main topics would be mental health, environment, and justice.
All right. The next question is, so considering that the role of coordinator is no easy task and it requires immense amounts of dedication and work, how will you be able to balance your personal responsibilities with those that come with the role of president?
Oh, I'm not running for president. I'm running as coordinator of social justice, but
Sorry,
no worries, no worries. But it can definitely apply.
well, for this role.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand the question. So yeah, that's a great question. I think, right now I'm currently very heavily involved in student life as well. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm an executive of a student club. I'm also a sport études athlete student, and I'm involved in different Congress committees and do like different organizations. So time management is definitely a big element of making everything run smoothly. If I'm elected as coordinator of social justice, I'm definitely have the preparation. I know how much time it takes and how much dedication it takes per week. It can take up like 10 hours per week working on different projects, and I'm ready to put in that time and that effort 100%, because this is really what I care about the most and what I want, where I want to be. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best to manage my time, and I'm sure that it won't be too big of an issue.
All right. The next question is, if a student asked you for advice on how to best contribute to the Marian Office community, what would you tell them?
It's a good question. I'm sorry. I would tell them, well, first of all, it would depend how the student wants to contribute to the student life, because we have such a big variety of different, clubs and different subjects that you can go into. I think we have American Office has like the most clubs in any CEGEP in Montreal, so that's pretty amazing. So I guess it would depend on like in what type of involvement that student wants to get involved in, and also the time commitment that they desire. So I have a lot of, I could probably refer them for volunteering to the Charities and Volunteering Committee or different volunteering clubs across Marinopolis. For in terms of social justice, we have so many amazing places where you can help out and be part of some committees or be part of some clubs and or participate in the events. If you just look at the MSU Facebook, I'm sure students can find so many different initiatives going on, or the Instagram pages. There's always something going on at Marinopolis, and that's what I love about it. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Miss Hong.
Oh, no problem. It was a pleasure talking to you.